Guys, SalesBolt.com today is doing $20,000 a month in revenue, up from $12,000 a month just a year ago and $35 a month the year before that, call it in 2021. He's a one-man show with an army of contractors, spends about 5 grand a month on Formula Q. It's a dev shop based out of India. And then another 1 or 2K on Fiverr engineers. He's got just a bunch of contractors building this thing. He's about break even right now, serving 80 customers, helping them automatically enrich their HubSpot and Salesforce accounts with lead data. Again, salesbolt.com is go to market right now. 90% of his leads are coming from the Chrome extension, but his bigger contracts are coming from the Salesforce App Exchange. So we'll see how he chooses to scale from here. Hey, folks, my guest today is Craig Maxwell. He's a sales and marketing expert with 9 years of experience in the technology industry. He's the founder of SalesBolt and has previously held various roles at companies like Epsta, including SDR, AE, and SDR manager, and in sales operations. He's got a proven track record of driving growth and success, which you can learn more about on his LinkedIn profile. Craig, you ready to take us to the top?
Absolutely. Thanks, Nathan.
You bet. Why leave Epsta, by the way? I hear those guys are super capital efficient. They've got nice scale. What happened?
Oh, yeah, no, that's an interesting one. So, absolutely loved my time there. It was a complete formative years of my tech career. Guy Rubes is an absolute legend. If you ever get a chance to meet him, I'd definitely recommend doing so. Um, it was more a case of my alignment at the time. I was in an SDR role, going into an AE role, started doing a lot of 360 work in terms of sales, outbound, and um, I sort of saw my path going a bit more towards product. I was really interested in learning to code. I started to learn a load of code in JavaScript and built a few different kind of hacky widgets here and there. And I figured this is what I enjoy a lot more than just selling. I want to do a bit more. And from there on, I just followed that path, right?
That's great. What was your quota target at Epsta?
Uh, it was never actually, when I was back there, it was so young and in its infancy, we never had a hardcore quota target. I think my monthly attainment was around 15, 20K
Mm-hmm.
new business ARR from like small um, transactional deals, right? A lot of
What does
inbound,
that mean?
very high
So in
volume.
1 month, you need to sell 20K of new ARR or new MRR?
New ARR, that was just, yeah,
New
it wasn't
ARR.
huge at the time. We didn't have an enterprise product. I think the primary play then was the Chrome extension for like Bullhorn and Salesforce integration back then.
Mm-hmm,
Since
mm-hmm.
then, I think they've pivoted.
Well, you're uniquely positioned to teach your audience quickly if they're trying to hire their first version of Craig Maxwell, how to structure the quota target, right? So, like, what did you like or dislike about how you had it structured at Epsta?
I would say it was very unstructured, right? So let's just recap on that. The good thing is that it was quite flexible. I could really do my own thing in terms of what worked for me in terms of tooling or kind of process. I remember putting together my own metrics, kind of creating my own dashboard in Salesforce, tracking myself. And when I really figured out what worked, everything just became um, so smooth from there, right? But I would say having a process in place like that before hiring your first SDR would be, um, you know, a nice place to start.
So let's
But I
fast
enjoyed
forward to
figuring
say,
out.
let's fast forward to SalesBolt then today. So what's the company do and what's the average customer paying you per month or per year to use the technology?
Yeah, so we have two different products. So I'd kind of split them there. But the Chrome extension, we have integrated LinkedIn with Salesforce, primarily by recruiters who are creating candidates, searching for candidates on LinkedIn Recruiter, and getting an easy back and forth between the two systems so they can add resumes, edit and update fields, and create new candidates as they're working on the fly, essentially. The other app we have is on the Salesforce App Exchange, and that's more of a data enrichment app. With that tool, we come up against user gems. We kind of compete in that space for contact tracking, um, champion tracking. So imagine your champions left one company, move to another company. You've got a churn risk at company A and an opportunity at company B, where if you track that champion over time, you can obviously resell to them. They already know your product, they already know your value prop, but now they've left a vacuum in that prior account, which may churn out if not dealt with from CS as well.
And how
So
many
on
leads
the
last month in April 2023 did you get from the Chrome extension versus the Salesforce App Exchange?
Yeah, it was about 80% weighted towards the Chrome extension. And I think roughly we get like in terms of pure inbound, not referral, it's like 30, 40 leads a week. It's not
Okay.
a huge volume.
So
We haven't invested in
40
any
leads a week from the Chrome
paid
extension.
ads. Correct, yeah.
Oh, what's going on there, YouTube? Good to see you guys. Now imagine this. You love watching these interviews with SaaS founders, but imagine if we took all of the valuation data out from over 2,807 interviews I've done manually. Saves you a lot of time. Well, we've done this. We've built it into the beautiful interface inside of FounderPath. Check this out. I'll show you how you can access this in a second, but you log in, you connect your Stripe account, you see your valuation real time, you can see what it changed over the past 88 days, and even set goals for valuation this year. Now, the secret to valuation is there's many different ways to value a SaaS business. So the reason you're going to see 3 or 4 different valuations inside of your FounderPath dashboard, this is all free by the way, is because depending on who's doing the buying of your SaaS company, you're going to get a different valuation. A VC is going to pay a different valuation. Private equity firm is different. If you're going to do a minority sale, that's different. And if you sell the whole business, that's a different valuation. You can see all those when I hover over here. Right, so the teal is what a VC would pay, yellow is what private equity, and red is if you sold the whole thing outright. Now, what's cool about this is not built off random data. Again, you guys hear these interviews on YouTube. All these data are built from real-time valuation data points founders share with us on the show. So traction, 1.2 million, seed round, 3.7 raise, they sold 22% of their business. Go in here and filter by the event. Maybe you only want to see companies that have sold the whole business. Well, here are a bunch that have been acquired, the valuation and the multiple. Maybe you're going out right now and you're raising your seed round. Well, go in here and look at all this recent seed deals that went down, what they raised, what valuation they raised at, and what percent that they sold. There's never been a larger data set of SaaS valuations than what you can get now inside of FounderPath, and we're thrilled to bring it to you. All right, we're going to go back to the YouTube video here in a second, but if you want to check this tool out, if you want to jump in and sign up, you can check it out for free to get your valuation at this link, founderpath.com/products/valuations. Or if you go to founderpath.com and hover over products, click on get your valuation here and go ahead and sign up to give it a whirl. Again, all that valuation data live right inside the platform. I hope to see you there. All right, let's jump back into the interview. And that's impressive. See, a lot of people underestimate Chrome extensions because if I go to your Chrome extension, no offense, it doesn't look huge, right? You've got 9 reviews. Now they are 5 stars, which is great. And you've got, it says 1,000+ users, but this is quite a powerful distribution channel for you.
Absolutely. And that leads us into the cross-sell of the ISV app where there's a much bigger ticket item behind it.
How big?
Average, well, I mean, the average deal size in the Chrome extension is skewed because you have single user sign up, zero touch, which is great for the kind of bottom line, but that really skews the average deal size, right? So we have people paying $50 a month up to 20, 30 grand a year, right? With the ISV app, the averages are much more smooth because they're paying based on the usage.
Sorry, what is the ISV? You mean the Salesforce app is what you mean?
Yeah, so the enrichment app. So the contact tracking app, I guess we could call it for a better term. That has a minimum price band of $12K a year. If that were tracking 10,000 contacts per month. So every month on the month, we're saying, here's who's changed jobs, here's where they currently work, here's the new email address. We've alerted the owner of the record, update that, send it to a flowing outreach, and far away from there. So that we're selling to mid-market and enterprise.
Interesting. And how many paying customers do you have today?
In total, across both apps, we have, I think it's 80-ish, 78, 80.
Okay. That's great. And is it split 80-20? About 80% of those are from Chrome?
I'd say it's heavily weighted towards Chrome, right? We probably got like 90% on Chrome and less than the rich app because of the later time to market with that tool. We only started building that towards the back end of last year and didn't really release it fully.
Who's we? What's the team size today?
Good question. So I started off myself, then I brought on a co-founder back end of 2019 around COVID.
How much equity did you give him or her?
50%.
Oh, you just split it right down the middle.
Yeah, it was, well, at the beginning, to be fair, it was 40, but then I wasn't in such a cash rich position. So it got to the point where we had to rebalance the cap table, right? And
so how much did your co-founder put in terms of cash to get back up to your equity level?
I think at the time we were spending about 20K a month in development, right?
Okay.
So I think he was funding the most part of that
Yeah.
in the beginning,
Yeah.
and I was catching up later, right? So
Did that make you
uh,
nervous? How much did you guys spend in just cash on the MVP before you had your first sale?
that's again a bit of a nuanced one. So I started the MVP myself, right? So I already had paying customers before I met my co-founder.
Ah, okay.
So I spent very little, and I would never advise somebody spending 20K a month in development for an MVP. I can do things super cheap, and in fact, I have my own like incubator within the business now, where we test a hypothesis, we test a feature, we spin it up as an independent app or an independent extension, and then we integrate it in, see if it fits. If it does, we increase the product value base, and if not, we have this either kind of half-dead project or a bit of a R&D, but it might come back in the future. We always get requests, and it's a fun way of building stuff.
So how many folks are full-time today?
We've recently brought on a strategic investor, so they have some. Oh yeah, that's the
No,
other thing.
Craig, just
A
employees.
strategic
How many?
investor bought out the co-founder. We don't have any employees, even
So just
myself
the two of
actually.
you.
So yeah, actually, that strategic investor bought out my co-founder last week. So it's just me currently at the moment, and that strategic investor in terms of employees, and we have offshore developers in terms of our dev shop.
What's the dev shop you use? What's the URL?
So we currently use a guy called Formula Q. So Formula Q dot, I guess .com or .io. Let me double check for you.
Formula Q. And everyone's always asking, how do I find a dev shop I can use and rely on and trust for a good price? How did you find these guys?
It was really through referral. So it was somebody well known in the industry who'd worked for a dev shop, who'd built some very reliable and well-known products. He started his own dev shop, and we kind of took the top developer there and trusted him from there.
Yeah, that's formulaqsolutions.com. And then, so what are you spending today, would you say, into your dev shop per month? Are we talking like 5 grand a month, 10 grand, 20 grand?
It's closer to the 5K mark. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we have, it depends if we have features to build or just product support. Most of that support costs. But then we up and down in terms of flex with various different outsourcing platforms, Upwork, Fiverr, etc.
Yep. And so if we take those 80 paying customers, it sounds like you've got a big range of price points, but what's total MRR today?
Just shy of 20K.
Oh, okay. This is amazing. Okay. So one man shop doing 20K a month. That's not a bad deal. Why did the other guy pull out? If you guys are already up to 20K in MRR, that feels like good growth.
I think he went to focus on another venture that you already had going. So it was more a case of splitting focus, not trying to back too many courses. And I think the time that he spent on that other business, I can completely understand why he would want to double down on that right now.
Yep, that makes sense. And then, I mean, do you feel like you can sort of? I always wonder if someone can take a company to 10 million in ARR as a one-man shop and just rely on an army of contractors. I mean, do you feel like there's a real shot at you doing that?
Honestly, I wouldn't want to. No, I think at some point there would have to be some dilution of capital, and we have to get some strategic hires on board. The first hire I want to make is going to be in CS. I don't necessarily want to grow this to 10 million as a one-man band. I'm busy enough as it is.
Yeah, I guess you built the initial MVP, so I guess can you code?
I can't actually. So when I started to learn to code, I realized that I could be very good at coding or very good at selling or okay at everything. And I decided to go with the latter because
that's fair.
I need to be able to manage other people and other.
So who else besides the dev shop did you pay in the last 30 days in terms of doing freelance work? You mentioned Fiverr. What tasks did you put up on Fiverr?
So we have like regular hourly developers that we have on there. So feature requests, for example, from a large potential client, rather than getting our full-time devs who know our products inside and out. We've got some strategic guys who've worked on features, so they kind of understand the backbone of what we do. I can grasp new feature functionality pretty quickly. So
doesn't it take a lot of work though for you to give them the spec and then make sure that they have a local environment set up, relative to how Formula Q is set up? How do you make sure they have access to all their repos, the GitHub account? How do you manage all that?
They're a full-time member in there. We flex up and down on a fairly regular basis. It just helps to keep our regular costs down rather than having them the full time.
Oh, I see. So you've got a Fiverr engineer that's like, I'm making this up, Python on the front end, charges you $30 an hour. 1 month it might be 10 hours. The next month it might be 30 hours if there's a feature request.
Exactly. And that just happened organically. It wasn't by design. We originally had them on the project pretty heavily. Then things kind of petered down in terms of how we needed to use them. And then we just kind of scale up and down as and when needed. And it works
I
really
love
well.
that. I love that. You're like the definition of a great indie hacker here. Talk in terms of keeping costs low and still getting sales, which is great. Talk to me a little bit
That's it.
about what other expense. So you've got Formula Q Solutions is like $5,000 a month. Fiverr sounds like maybe $1,000, $2,000 a month. Where else are you spending money?
Yeah, if that's mainly infrastructural costs. So, Amazon Web Services, the standard things, probably about $2,000 a month.
Okay.
We have some quite heavy computational costs there. A few other various different API providers to do enrichment and stuff like that. But most of our stuff is proprietary. Built our own email finder to help keep those costs down. That was one of those pet projects actually that we spun off on the side. Leadgo.io. It just finds emails, but they're 10 a penny. So I never found it actually drove its own
So
serious revenue.
Leadgo.io is your software.
Yeah. So I had that built just so we could find emails of people who've changed role and company, or company to be clear, of course. But that was instead of contracting out to Hunter.io and those platforms, right?
What's Hublink.io?
So that was something that I toyed with around HubSpot integration. So I went to SaaStock and found that all the new startups in Europe are just using HubSpot, and it kind of bugged me. So I thought, how difficult would it be to make a quick MVP front end back end integration HubSpot? Just very similar case to SalesBolt, and it took about 3 weeks, maybe a month. But
how much did it cost you
has,
using the Fiverr engineers?
Yeah, not much. Around less than 5K.
And who did the design? It's beautiful design.
That was well, no, it's piecemeal. Just hey, make this. Well, the logo I just used what I use Canva. Just tweaked Canva designs and just edited it using
So I love this. You're resourceful.
tools.
So I guess what's the hell? So you're doing $20,000 a month. Are you profitable today? Or are you break even?
I think we're just over break even in terms of like minimal profits. Obviously, there's some founders draw from myself and co-founder as well to keep us.
So even though your co-founder pulled out, you're still paying him or her?
Historically, yes. But I mean, in terms of going forward cash flow, that obviously won't be the case, which would be nice. So it should be more profitable moving forward. And we also have loads of big clients who are just coming into their second, third year renewals. So we should see a bit more consistency in terms of cash flow.
That's great. What about growth? So if you're at $20,000 a month today, where were you exactly 1 year ago? Do you remember?
Yeah, I've got the stats right in front of me actually. So 1 year ago, May, we're at 12, and the May before that, we're at $35.
That's pretty cool. So how do you go from 80 customers today to 800 in 2 years?
Yeah, so there's a few things that I really want to do, but the main thing for me at the moment as a primary focus is how we get our enrichment app to be more product led in terms of growth, right? So from a growth hacking perspective, the Chrome extension is a great distribution channel, but we don't.
I know it's just so busy, right? It's like, how do you get this from 9 reviews and 1,000 users to like 900 reviews and 10,000 or 100,000 users? How do you break through the noise?
I think one of the things that we've probably done wrong is not focus on other CRMs. So I mentioned HubSpot as one of the things that kind of bugged me and I wanted to figure out. But if I look at some of the other tools that integrate in a similar way in terms of Chrome extension usage, maybe LeadIQ or something like that, they break into different areas of the market, but also focus on a different niche.
Mm-hmm.
I think their niche is more around, hey, we provide you data and we integrate that data into different CRM systems versus what we tended to focus on, right or wrong, was, hey, Salesforce is the top CRM for enterprise clients.
Yep.
We know
Very
that
cool.
these products are missing these features, and we can add them in a particular way.
Well, we're rooting for you. We hope it works. We hope that strategy helps you grow and you give us an update in a year. But for now, Craig, we're out of time. So let's wrap up here with the famous five. Number one, your favorite book.
Favorite book? Oh, that's a good one. I recently, Rich Dad Poor Dad, I'd have to say it's a classic one, but I've recently read another one, which would be my second, which would be, oh God, let me pull the title. It's super good. Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel.
Yeah, that's a good one. Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
Chris Federspiel. I actually bought your book because of him.
Oh, nice.
But,
You heard it.
Blackthorn.io.
Yeah. Chris, Blackthorn. Yeah, the event company. Yeah. Oh gosh, so much of what you're doing is comparable to what he's doing in terms of like using the Salesforce App Exchange for all of his growth, all that stuff. So very cool. All right, Chris is a great one. Number three, what's your favorite online tool for building SalesBolt?
Favorite online tool for building SalesBolt? It would have to be Jira right now. I couldn't live without that managing tickets for my dev team. I'm a stickler for just sending messages, but it's necessary.
And number four, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
4 to 6.
Okay, and situation, married, single, kids?
Single.
Okay, no kids. And how old are you?
33. Same as you. Actually, August 28th. I think you're October 3rd.
I'm October 3rd. Yeah. You've done your research. That's impressive. All right. Yeah, we're about the same age. That's great. Last question. Something you wish you knew when you were 20?
Ooh. It's not that hard to start and just do it.
Guys, SalesBolt.com today is doing $20,000 a month in revenue, up from $12,000 a month just a year ago and $35 a month the year before that, call it in 2021. He's a one-man show with an army of contractors, spends about $5,000 a month on Formula Q. It's a dev shop based out of India. Then another 1 or 2K on Fiverr engineers. He's got just a bunch of contractors building this thing. He's about break even right now, serving 80 customers, helping them automatically enrich their HubSpot and Salesforce accounts with lead data. Again, SalesBolt.com is go to market right now. 90% of his leads are coming from the Chrome extension, but his bigger contracts are coming from the Salesforce App Exchange. So we'll see how he chooses to scale from here. Craig, thanks for taking us to the top.
Excellent. Thanks, Nathan.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.